everyone, welcome to another edition of News Generation. My name is Ifwa Akwa Harrison. Coming up, we speak to some senior high school graduates about a story that says 3 students of the St. John's Grammar High School were prevented from writing one of their papers because of their bushy hair. In Jamestown, young people tell us what goes into making kenke. And then, of course, we'll be telling you all about the bread selling business in Sawam in the Eastern region. It's going to be an exciting episode. Please stay with us. News Generation, supported by
Cowbell with Vitarid.
Remember, you can join us via social media. We're on facebook.com/newsgenerationgh. We're also on Twitter @newsgengh. Now, investigations have begun into how 3 students of the St. John's Grammar Senior High School missed their Christian Religious Studies paper in the ongoing WASI. The headmaster of the school, Emmanuel Fiamaule, has denied media reports that the students, including a young actor, Emmanuel Dakun, were prevented from writing the paper because of bushy hairstyles. He, however, says 6 students were asked to stand aside during routine inspection for wearing unprescribed hairstyles, including perming their hair and wearing artificial eyelashes. Meanwhile, some SHS graduates say the Education Ministry should scrap the regulation which makes it compulsory for them to keep their hair short, especially in the final year. Hanodami spoke to some of them.
You completed school 2013, 3 years ago.
Yes.
Tell me your experience. Did you have to barber your hair or you kept it bushy as I see Manuela's own in your final year?
No, we had to trim it down. We had to trim it down because they didn't like it when our hair was bushy.
And so when it happens in the exam room, I mean, whilst you're writing the exam, the scissors will be brought to just debunk you. Well, didn't that cause you to lose concentration?
It makes you angry, like you don't feel like even writing again because how they debunk your hair?
The way they do it
in a nasty way,
and the way they do it too. The way they do it, if you say you are going to trim the rest of the hair, you have to go bald.
Wow. Were there other nationals or other people who are allowed to braid their hair?
You only be allowed to braid your hair in SHS if you have a medical report.
That says what?
Maybe you have a head condition, so you're not supposed to trim your hair, also affect your brain or something.
But when you're disciplined, you're always disciplined.
Do you think it should remain in the law books of senior high schools or it should be scrapped?
It should be scrapped.
Why?
It doesn't make sense.
Really?
It really doesn't make sense because if you are disciplined, you are disciplined. And when my school was, it was in a valley in the middle of 4 mountains. So when it's dry season, it's like you're in winter.
So you think that it should be...
At least it helps protect the head because of the way my head is, I have sinus problems. Very bad sinus problems. So anytime the cold comes, then it affects my sinuses, my nose, my eyes start running and all that. So the warmth in my hair helps me a bit. So,
but if this should be waived, say for schools that are in cold, in regions where the weather is cold, it should be waived for them so they keep their hair. And in those in the south, because it's so hot here, they should be allowed. Don't you think it will not be fair?
So they should just tell everyone to keep their hair and just keep it neat.
Really?
So maybe if you don't keep it well, that is when they'll take it off. But then not that everyone is keeping their hair neat and then you just cut it because of cutting sake.
What's the definition of the neat?
Well combed.
Won't that distract you because you'll have to spend more time keeping your hair either to braid or to be doing things to it? So how will you keep it?
It takes me like 5 minutes to comb my hair. And my hair is very thick.
But when you have it barbered, it will take 2 minutes.
But it's still the same thing.
Some people
there are others also that we have just learned who were actually not allowed to write their exams.
I've never heard of that situation before.
Yes.
In my school,
what would you make of that?
That one is really bad because they've already paid for it already.
They've paid everything.
It's their right to write it. That's what will make them go to the next stage to continue their education. So if you don't allow them, it's really bad. It's going to, even if you make them even write the next, but they know they've already failed in one.
It's already demotivates them.
Yes.
Really.
If you were in that situation, what will you do?
I can sue them.
That's what you do.
Because you're infringing on my rights. You can't tell me I shouldn't write a paper just because of my hair.
You disobeyed the school rule.
So
why didn't you just do what the school says?
Look, listen. If, let's say,
we understand that their future is somehow...
Yes, and I'm saying that you've infringed on my rights. Okay, fine, I broke a school rule, but it's just hair. It's nothing like education compared to hair.
You didn't burn the school down?
No. I didn't sell the school to Chinese. I didn't do anything wrong. It was just my hair. So why would you ask me to not to write a paper just because my hair is grown? Like, it doesn't make sense.
And it's even in the rules and regulation, when a student does something wrong,
discipline
the students, not by allowing the student not to write the exam.
So you feel it's extreme?
It's really extreme, bad. Because even if you do something really bad, my school, for instance, one thing I commend them on is, even if you do something really bad and they've suspended you or even expelled you, as long as you've paid for the WASI, you will still write it.
You have to sit.
But you won't be in uniform. You just wear black and white.
Okay.
And
at least you still be allowed to write.
Yes, not that asked. Even before you enter.
What should be done to the authorities of the school if the story is true?
They should be made to pay for the. Me, if it was my government, I would have let them pay the rest of their education.
What about you?
Me, they should give the girls a chance to write it, and the school authorities who did that, they should be sacked.
Yeah.
Well, so that's Nana, Efwa, and Manuela giving their take on what they did whilst they were in SS and what they think should be done. They actually are asking for the scrapping of this rule that says that girls should not keep their hair whilst they are in senior high school. We see what the GES will do about that.
The woman who designed the national flag at independence has died. Theodosia Salome Okun was 92 years old. She's reported to have been ill for a few weeks. Now, we've been asking you how you will remember the late Theodosia Okun.
A flag.
She designed the Ghana flag for us.
It was a sad incident since she's been one of the greatest personalities in our country. And I hope youth take up her attitude and then develop on it so that we have greater people in the country.
For me, I'm sad because we've lost someone very great in this country. It's hard to come by those who have stayed from the past and then are coming to our future. She was there when we had our independence. She's there up to now, and now she's there. So it's very bad. I feel bad as a citizen of Ghana.
It didn't feel right because she's the one who made the Ghana flag. She's the one who gave us our symbol to be identified.
She was one of the people that helped us to gain independence, and she helped designing the Ghana flag, made it known to everyone that we were independent, making people see us as a strong country. So she helped.
I just felt a little uneased.
Theodosia Okun was a woman of vision that teaches us that we young Ghanaians must have vision. And she was also innovative and creative, that if we are innovative and creative, we will solve certain problems of Ghana.
She has inspired me because she has given Ghana an identity, and most people wouldn't have done that.
Ghana will miss Theodosia Okun because she gave us an identity. For example, if anyone should move around with the Ghana flag, then you know that yes, this person is a Ghanaian and comes from Ghana. And we will also remember her for her selflessness, because despite everything, she stood up and designed a flag for the country.
And here are your comments on social media. Emmanuel Romeo says, may your soul rest in peace. Bernice Ahiabo says, rest in peace. Salome Kwatima Ariam says, may her soul rest in perfect peace. And Paul Adombo Sergio says, rest in peace, in the peace of the Lord, grandmom. Hashtag you are really a legend. So those are a few of your stories coming through on social media. Now, I am sure you have all heard about the xenophobic violence against other African nationals in South Africa. It has claimed about 7 lives. Some African leaders are even thinking of how their people should go back home. This is because some African migrants are in danger in parts of South Africa where the violence is ongoing. So we ask you, should Ghanaians also return?
I think the Ghanaians in South Africa should come home because their life is very important to us, and since there is life, there is hope. Their life there is very risky. We need them home. Even when the country rejects you, you can come back to your country.
Their life is at risk, and to me, I think that the problem should be resolved. We should speak to the South Africans military or whatever, to stop killing the people.
We need the lives of our Ghanaians. When our citizens are in South Africa, it is not their country, so they must agree to come to Ghana, so that there's a saying that when there is life, there is hope. It means God will provide them with jobs, and they'll get opportunity, they'll be employed. So they should agree that it's not their country, so they should come to Ghana.
I think that the Ghanaians should stay because, one, the unemployment in Ghana is very high and the street is very high. And when they come here, even though the South Africans is very high, what if the Ghanaians, they already have a business there? That business is going to collapse. So I think they should stay there. And secondly, too, I also think they should stay there because the coexistence between them is going to change. It's going to bring about conflict between the two countries. Maybe other countries too may think the same. So I think they should stay.
I think that the Ghanaians should come back to Ghana because we've heard that the South Africans have been killing Ghanaians because of their jobs.
My opinion is that Ghanaians should remain in South Africa and continue with the work they do, because if they come back here, they will not have any job to do or to cater for themselves. So I think it's rather that Ghanaians stay.
It is advisable for them to come back to save their lives.
Some of them are self-employed, so they should, when they come back, they can create the jobs for themselves. So I think they should come back home.
And just in case you've lost track on all that's been happening in South Africa, here's a short explanation.
Xenophobia. 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 According to the Oxford Dictionary, xenophobia is a strong feeling of dislike or fear of people from other countries. Xenophobic attacks are violent attacks by citizens against foreign nationals living in their country. Xenophobic attacks have been ongoing in South Africa since last week. At least 6 people have been reported to have died.
Has South Africa had xenophobic attacks before?
Yes. In January, businesses owned by foreigners were burned by thieves. In 2008, dozens died in anti-immigrant tensions in Johannesburg. And in 2006, xenophobic violence broke out in Cape Town for several months. A lot of people, including South Africans, have condemned the violence. Apparently, it is happening because some South Africans are accusing other Africans of taking their jobs.
Still to come, young people in Jamestown in kinky making after this. And you're welcome back to News Generation. Remember, you can always find us on social media, facebook.com/newsgenerationgh, on Twitter @newsgengh. What is the staple food of your community? every community has their main food, and for the people of Jamestown, it's kinky, and selling it is big business there. And young people are not left out. They tell us how involving it is.
This is Jamestown, a densely populated Ghana community in Accra. Most of the people here sell all kinds of food stuff. The staple food here though is kinky, and many including young people prepare and sell it. 14-year-old Laurentia Komle helps her parents to prepare kinky after school and during vacation.
I help my grandmother to prepare the kinky after school and on vacation. We use the condo, then we take the kinky leaf. After that, you put the condo on the fire. Then you fetch the stick we use to stir the kinky. You put it on fire, you stir it. There will be no cassava dough. So after you put it on the fire, you stir it. When it is thick, you add another condo for it to be thick. Then you put it inside the basin.
Laurentia is not allowed to help during the final process, the boiling.
Rolling it, we start it at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. After rolling, they will put it inside the pot. Then they will put it there in the dawn 2 a.m. Then we set the fire, then we put water on it.
Kinky in Jamestown is sold for 50 pesos or 70 pesos per ball, relatively cheaper than the 1 cedis it is sold for in other parts of Accra.
It's 50 pesos and 70 pesos. When the sellers are taking it to the market, you sell it, the 50 pesos will be 70 pesos, then the 70 pesos will be 1 cedi. We sell it right here, but some people others who sell it at the other place. Some of them are also selling it over there. This way, sometimes they buy, sometimes there will be more kinky. So we have to put it down for the next day. We also put it on the fire.
The older folks here are camera shy, so they tell us off camera that sales have gone down lately. But kinky is their traditional food, so they will continue to hold on to the business.
And this one is definitely a staple in many homes, bread. But there's a town in Ghana which is famous for making and selling breads of all shapes and sizes.
Bread here, bread there, bread everywhere. This is Nsawam, capital of the Nsawam Adweju municipality of the eastern region. Nsawam is mostly known for having a medium security prison, but it is the sale of bread that makes this town popular. So many people call it the bread capital of Ghana. Baking and selling bread along the main road is a major part of life for the women here. However, the weekend at Nsawam is a perfect time for teenage boys and girls to take part in the bread business. Meet 15-year-old Abigail Akusia Nyakoa. She sells bread at this lorry station to help her mother, and she has to compete with other bread sellers to sell hers.
I help my mom in her bread business because she pays for my school fees and other learning materials I need in school.
Abigail says she only started helping her mother sell bread last year. She's a JHS 1 pupil of Reverend Father Wigger's RC Basic School at Nsawam.
When I close from school, I help my mom in preparing supper. Afterwards, I eat, take my bath, and learn.
When Abigail tires out, she takes a break, but her mother, Elizabeth Yeboah, has to keep selling. Though she is not too keen on Abigail working at her age, their family's financial situation leaves them with no choice.
She helps me in the bread business so that I can make some profit.
After resting for some time, Abigail packs up to head off to the lorry station again. She hopes to sell all her bread by sunset so she can be free to study later. Abigail doesn't plan on selling bread forever.
I know my future lies in getting educated. I want to become a police officer. I want Abigail to take her education seriously so that in the future she can take care of me.
With many mouths to feed, Elizabeth Yeboah will continue to count on Abigail to keep her bread business afloat.
I urge teenage boys and girls like me to continue going to school, even though they are engaged in some trading activities.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to News Generation. Now, robots have moved away from being cool just in movies. In Japan, a lifelike robot has started working at a store. That's what's trending. Chihiro Aika, the lifelike robot, is the new robo-receptionist at the Mitsukoshi department store in Tokyo, Japan. The new robo-lady will be welcoming visitors to the store for the next few days. She will then be sent elsewhere in the store to help as a guide. The robot was built by electronics manufacturer Toshiba. She is able to walk, sing, gesture, and cry like a 32-year-old Japanese woman. And we take you around the world to Dhaka, Bangladesh. If you caught our weekend episode, we spoke to a young Ghanaian writer, Harrison Wallace, who lives there. Well, here's a story about what some kids do there with their bicycles.
প্রথমবার সার্ফিং মারছি অনেক ভালো লাগছে পড়ছি কষ্ট লাগছে চালাতে ভালো লাগে তাই চালাই আমি আমার বড় ভাইয়ের থেকে শিখছিলাম আর কি সাইকেল চালানো আমি সার্ফিং পারি এন্ডো পারি তারপর রোলিং স্টপে পারি
আমার অনেক ফ্রেন্ডরা আছেন সাইকেল চালাতে চায় তো আর কি সাইকেল চালাচ্ছে অনেকে তো এখন সাইক্লিংটা জনপ্রিয় হচ্ছে বেশি
Not only boys but also girls like cycling
2010 এর দিকে তখন ফার্স্ট হলো সাইক্লিং শুরু হয় বাংলাদেশে ইকো ফ্রেন্ডলি জিনিসটা অনেক
Four people have been injured in a fight between two ethnic groups in Agbogloshi, Accra. The fight broke out when a girl from one tribe went to poo at an area that was meant for another tribe. 3 of the residents are on admission at the Kolebu. The police have also been sent to the area to maintain order. Rescue efforts are still ongoing to find hundreds of migrants who sank off the North African coast on Saturday. The United Nations, however, says much more must be done to help thousands of migrants trying to reach Europe by boat. UN figures show over 13,000 migrants have been rescued trying to reach Europe so far this year. European leaders are meeting this week to try to work out what to do. All schools in and around Niger's capital Niamey have been shut until Monday. There's been a meningitis outbreak that has killed 85 people this year. According to authorities, the vaccines to treat the disease have run out. A campaign to vaccinate all children between 2 and 15 will begin on Friday. A sun-powered plane called the Solar Impulse 2 has landed safely in Nanjing, China. The plane is on a mission to travel around the globe. The plane was piloted from the east to the west of China and will now tackle crossing the Pacific Ocean. Aston Villa heads to their first FA Cup final in 15 seasons. The team beat Liverpool 2-1 in the Premier League semi-final on Sunday. Aston Villa will face Arsenal on 30th May.
And that's all we have time for this edition of News Generation. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, have a good rest of the day. Bye.
News Generation, supported by
Cowbell with Vitarid.